Good evening everyone, and welcome to the next video that I'm making on the South African Union coin, specifically about the sixpence. Now previously we've looked at the farthing, which is this one, the smallest one. There's the video, as well as the half penny and the full penny. There's the video. And my last video was of course on the tikkie, or the threepence. I've made two videos, one on the coin itself and one about a fraudulent or a fake tikkie, 1931 tikkie, which is such a rare coin that even a fake version of it is almost interesting to have a look at. So I thought that before I start with the sixpence, just to go through over the whole series, so basically all the coins. So just because we don't work with coins these days that much, just so that you can get an idea of how all of this fits together. So the Union coins from 1923 to 1960 was a base 12 system. So the smallest denomination was the quarter penny or the farthing, with the two sparrows on, and this was literally a quarter of a penny. So you need 4 of these to make up a penny. So this was the smallest denomination. 2 of those, you get a half penny. So there's the half penny. This is a 1929. So this would be the King George V version. So there's King George V at the back. The rims on all of these were smooth, so they were not reeded in any way. And then of course if you have 2 half pennies, you've got a full penny. And I thought I'll show you this raw coin. It has beautiful rainbow toning, specifically in blues. I don't know if that's visible on the camera. So both the on the reverse and on the obverse. This is the Queen Elizabeth, of course, on the obverse. But if you tilt it just right, you can see the blues and so forth. A very, very nice coin. I actually think that this would probably grade MS, MS63, MS64 or higher even. Not a very valuable coin. You can still find them in quite a few coin shops and so forth, but in this condition they're getting very rare. Okay, so now, then you've got, the moment you've got 3 of these pennies, you've got yourself a tikkie. So over here I've got a 1958 tikkie, also a raw coin. This would also great mint state. Very, very nice coin. So 3 tikkies, I mean 3 pennies would give you a tikkie. And then of course the coin that I want to talk about tonight is the sixpence. So when you've got 2 tikkies or 6 pennies, you've got yourself a sixpence. So this one over here is a 1945. It has some nice toning in the fields and in the lettering. Also a nice coin. And of course if you've got 2 sixpence or 12 pennies, you got yourself a shilling. So here's a 1941 shilling. So now we start talking serious money in terms of what you could buy in those days. So that's this is of course 1941. So that would be the King George VI. You see there at on the obverse. Then if you've got 2 shillings, you got yourself a florin or a 2 shilling. So that would be, in other words, 24 pennies will give you one of these. And so there we are, Queen Elizabeth version. And then of course the next one of course is a half crown, which is 2.5 shillings, or sometimes referred to as 216 or 2/6. This is a 1925 half crown. This is 80% silver. So to find these coins in mint state, you really struggle, because silver is such a soft metal, so it does worn away. Even a coin like this, you struggle to find them, and they do there is a premium, especially if it's King George V coin. And then lastly, if you've got yourself 2 half crowns, you've got yourself a full crown. So 5 shillings, in other words, makes a crown, or 60 pennies. Now I can make a full video on why this base 12 system was used for currency and why we did eventually move over to the decimal system, but I'm going to leave that for another day. So this is the 1947 crown. Oh, this is one of my favorite coins. It's heavy. It's nice and thick. It's it's just the silver alone in these coins are up to, it's about close to 200 Rand today. So it's a valuable coin, even just in its bullion value. Okay, but let's have a look at the star for today, which of course is the sixpence. Okay, so here we've got a 1927 sixpence. This is of course a raw coin, as you can see, so it's ungraded. The reason why it's not graded is I don't think this will grade as mint state, and because I collect mint state coins, I just kept this as is and decided I'm not going to grade it because I'd rather wait for a mint state version of this coming up. I'm probably going to wait a very long time, but you still do get them sometimes on auctions and so forth. But it's still very special, even if it's a raw coin like this. But yeah, I personally believe rather buy one coin every 5 years that's of real value, or maybe a coin a year or something, than buying hundreds of coins. But that's another discussion for another day. So the sixpence, as I said, minted from 23 to 1960. It's before 1951, so up until 1950. 80% silver, and then reduced to 50% silver after that. It's mixed with copper, and the copper has two functions. Of course, it decreases the reliance on silver, which is quite an expensive metal to make coins from, but it also strengthens the coin so that it doesn't worn down as easily. So that was one of the reasons for that. I've got a 1945 raw coin here as well. Also quite nice, quite beautiful. This coin, I think, might actually grade mint state, so I might send it in at some point. Still have to carefully use a loop just to have a look at if there's any defects. There's nothing as bad as sending in a coin and it comes back unk details or something like that. That's just heartbreaking. So some rarities in the coin for a sixpence, of course, is the 1925 sixpence. There's only a single proof made, which is a museum piece. I'm not quite sure where it's. I assume it's at the SA Mint, but it's kept in a museum. Then there was a total of only 79,230 business strikes after 1925, so they're quite difficult to find, especially in mint state. Likewise for the 26 and to some extent the 27, which I've shown you. This coin is definitely not mint state. I think it's at best AU, which means almost uncirculated. So if you look at King George V on the obverse, you can see some slight wear on the high the high parts of the coin, which basically means that this won't grade mint state. So yeah, and you have to be careful when you just send in coins. It is getting quite expensive to get them graded. Of course, another noteworthy sixpence is that of the 1928. Now, if you look at all the texts, it says that there isn't any 1928 sixpences struck, but one actually popped up. Now, the origin of this coin is not totally known, but what we do know, or basically suspect, that it was struck from official dies, and that there's only one of these coins as far as we know. It was auctioned off on August 13, 2012 for $155,250, which basically roughly translates to about 1.1 million, 1.2 million. These days, with the rand and how it has depreciated against the dollar, I don't know what that coin would have been worth. But it's graded at the NGC as SP63. The SP is because it's a specimen. It's not a business strike. It's not a proof. It's a unique coin. There's only one of these, so that's an interesting coin indeed. course, the 1931 sixpence is also as sought after. It's one of the rarest coins in the entire Union series. Not as scarce as the Tikkie, but also very difficult to find. I think it's the easiest coin to find in the 31 series, the silvers. But it's you're going to pay quite a bit of a premium on it. There was only 4,805 minted, of which 62 were proof, which means there's just 4,743 business strikes, and these are rare. NGC only has 4 minted in mint state, so they will easily reach an excess of, I don't know, 50,000, 70,000 rand per coin for a low mint state, maybe even more. So that's 1931. Then in 1939, we've had only 30 proofs made of the sixpence. There was no business strikes, so the proofs are actually quite sought after for 1939. Oddly enough, there was also what was known as fiber coins. So it was coins made from material for educational purposes. And these were, oddly enough, 1939s. So, but that's a whole another video where I'll show you talk about the fiber coins. Which is also has become incredibly collectible and very difficult to come by. So I've got 3 interesting sixpences as well that I've got in graded condition that I'd like to quickly show you. One of my favorites is this 1937 sixpence. As you can see, it has almost no toning on it. I suspect it was professionally cleaned, so you don't have there's absolutely no grime or anything on the coin itself. So if you look at the obverse, very, very nice. This is a MS64. So absolutely mint state. This is one of my favorite coins. Look at that, what they refer to as cartwheeling. If I change it in the light actually makes this cartwheeling effect. Oh, I love that. If you see that on a coin, you know you've got a good specimen. Then another one I'd like to show you is actually a coin that I sent in myself to get graded, and this is this 1948 sixpence. It has this odd copper-like toning on it. I mean, it just depends on how the elements react with the coin's surface. But I remember when I got this coin, I almost initially thought this might actually be a proof coin because of the luster on the coin itself. Its rim is absolutely immaculate. Of course, once it's been placed in a slab like this, you can't really see the edge any longer or the rim, but it's in a really, really good condition. This graded as MS65. So I was particularly happy when this coin came back in this condition. Especially, I think I paid 400 Rand for the raw coin. So a bit of a gamble, but so with the actual grading, this coin set me back less than 1,000 Rand, which is a steal. This coin will go for quite a bit more these days. Okay, the last coin I'd like to show you is this 1951 sixpence. Although no, this is a 1950 sixpence. Now, this is a coin with a high grade. It's a MS63. But what makes this coin interesting is if you look at it, you can see that it's actually pretty dirty. There's quite a bit of grime on the coin, and when it comes to cleaning coins, it's a very controversial topic. Some people say, or some collectors say, that if it gets professionally cleaned, there's nothing wrong with it. I suspect this 37 might have been cleaned. You can't say for sure, because if it was cleaned, it was done very professionally. But you can't. The thing is, if a coin is professionally cleaned, you should be unable to tell that it was cleaned. But I also like the fact that if you look at this 1950 sixpence over here with all its dirt and all its grime, this was how the coin was found. And it was sent in just like this. So this is 1950s dirt, if I can put it like that. And to me, that adds to the sentiment, it adds to the character of the coin. And it doesn't depreciate the coin in any way. So it's absolute, I would say it's personal preference. Very much like toning. We've looked at the toning of of, for example, this penny. Some people hate this toning effect. I am very fond of it. I think it actually adds to the value of the coin, but it's personal preference, and that's that is what makes numismatics and coin collecting so interesting. It's about what you want and what you like and what you prefer. I'm going to make a video on about what kind of collections you can make, because I've seen many people talk about, no, you shouldn't collect pocket change and you shouldn't collect coins that are so, and for example, of this year and so forth, because it's not valuable. And but that's a whole nother video. So guys, that's the sixpence, and also sort of a overview of the entire Union series from the farthing all the way to the crown. I'm going to talk a bit about the shilling, the 2 shilling, and the higher a bit later on. Also the crown, which is one of my favorite coins. But I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment if you want to see specific topics covered. We can talk about grading, we can talk about proof versus business strikes, we can talk about, all of these kinds of things. But thank you very much for your interest and for sharing this video with me. I appreciate it. Have a great day, and as always, happy collecting.